Hello and welcome to the Big Show. This is Dim Lights and Stiff Drinks, the dive bars of Seattle. We are interested in those roadhouses, dive bars, and watering holes with a long history and a salacious backstory. This is not a conceptual exercise. No, we're not sitting in our basements on a Zoom call. We're here.
No.
We are live.
We are live at the Waterwheel in Ballard. And we come here and we're going to hang one on in the places where money is lost and future regrets are made. This week, as I already mentioned, we are in the witness protection program that is the Waterwheel Lounge in Ballard. Do you know why I said that?
Because there's a crazy-ass criminal history that we're going to get into.
Probably, but I've driven by this place a billion times and never noticed it. I've seen that sign, but...
It's very easy to drive by.
Very easy.
I've seen it a million times, but the building is at the back of the lot.
Blink and
so
you miss it.
see nothing from the street except for two apartment buildings on either side of it.
It either looks like there used to be something here and it's closed, or it's a total hole-in-the-wall burger joint, which it is
Exactly.
not.
Yeah.
Right?
Both of which are great.
All right, let's say hi to the crew. As always, we're here with producer Supreme, Bob Trombley.
Hey now.
And we're also here with the house band, Satan's Pilgrims. I said those guys before you because we got to give them a shout-out. Satan's just got inducted into the Oregon Music Hall of Fame.
Did they?
They just had
congrats.
a huge concert for it, and the -5 were there. I think like Boys Against Girls. Peter Buck came by.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was
Very
pretty cool. And they got a new album coming out, Go Action.
Hell yeah.
I actually listened to it on Spotify the other day.
Oh,
Popped up on my
nice.
feed, so.
Nice.
Well,
Shout
congrats
out.
to those guys.
And as always, we're here. To my right is resident historian Brad.
Hello.
And to my left is resident Suds Gourmand Jeremy.
That's right. Going by Jay Smoky.
Jay Smoke.
Very topical.
And why
Very
is that,
topical.
Tell the people what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean, if you're listening to this podcast in the year 2037 or whatever, you'd be like, yeah, it's smoky all the time. But back here in 2022, it's smoky as fuck right now. And it's weird. It is really weird.
Well, and we are outside right now. You can probably hear the car sounds in the background.
Yeah.
We're out in their patio right now, and they're saying, like an hour being outside right now for an hour is equivalent to smoking 2 packs of cigarettes. So, we're taking one for the team. We're doing it for the show. That's probably at least a day off of our lives, just being out here today.
Shit.
That's right.
Recording
Marlbred
the show.
100s, baby.
The
Hell
air
yeah.
quality index is 200 right now.
We are 5th worst air quality in the world.
We were the worst yesterday.
Yeah, when it
We're
hit,
number one.
We're number one.
it hit 250.
Well, and the rain is supposed to come tomorrow, and everyone's just super psyched for that, myself included. So
It's the only time we've ever been super excited for the rain to start
I can't wait.
because it's been this way for a month.
Yeah.
Right? It's weird.
You know, when my throat gets kind of hoarse from all the smoke in the air, you know what I go to? Beer.
How they're going to say the patch?
Patch. Nice one.
Patch and a beer.
Nice one. So we are
Typical
at the
Thursday night.
Waterwheel Lounge in Ballard. And Brad, what do we got this week? Do we got some criminal activity? Do we got
We
some,
might have a little bit of that,
Ocean's
possibly.
11 dipshits?
Yeah, we might have a little bit of that.
Kick us off.
So the origins of the Waterwheel Lounge begins in 1937 when it first opened across the street as a drinking establishment known as Gordon's Tavern. So if you go a little south of here, like maybe 2 blocks south, there's a Shell station on the other side of the street.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it originally operated. So yeah, like I said, opened in 1937 as Gordon's Tavern. In 1949, it changed ownership and operated as Phyllis's Tavern, named after the new owner's first name. So another female-owned tavern.
Shelley's leg, baby.
Yeah, the thing
Marie's?
that's crazy about this, I mean, we've talked about several times about how many female-owned taverns there were back in the day, but here's what we haven't talked about. Here's what makes it particularly kind of crazy that was going on, is the fact when Prohibition was repealed in 1933, the Washington State Liquor Board was formed, and they imposed all these crazy rules known as blue laws.
Yep.
And they were all originally with the intent of not going back to the lawless days of the saloons, right?
Right.
And one of the things that they didn't want to go back to was prostitution. There was like a huge amount of prostitution back then, and they wanted to avoid that. So some of these rules that were put in place in 33 were
Like
aimed
women
at women.
couldn't go in the bar, right?
They couldn't go in the bar. They couldn't order drinks for themselves. They couldn't be walking around. They had to be
We're not allowed to
accompanied by
stand up or something
a
stupid
male.
like that. And,
Yeah. And a lot of those rules were on the books until 1969. It wasn't until 1969 that women could order a drink for themselves.
Whoa!
But they were enforced. When I was out promoting my first book, Seattle Prohibition, I was at some book signing or something, and some lady came up, an older lady, and we got to talk. And I love talking to the old timers. And she was telling me a story about, it was in the 1950s. Her and her son were out driving around doing errands, and the car broke down. And of course, this was pre-cell phone, way before cell phones, so they had to go find a payphone. The nearest payphone was a nearby tavern. So she went in there, she was like, okay, you stay in here, I'll be right back. She went into the tavern. They wouldn't let her in just to use the payphone. She wasn't going in to order a drink. She just wanted to use the damn phone.
Wow.
They wouldn't let her in, so she had to go back and get her 10-year-old son to accompany her so she could go in, accompanied by a male, and use the phone.
Hey, let the kid in.
And that's how crazy
this
it was.
This is my husband? It's okay.
They let her in with her 10-year-old son. So that, these places back then, these drinking establishments, basically from 1933 through 1970 essentially, were not welcome for the ladies by any stretch of the imagination. So it kind of blows my mind that so many of them were female-owned when they were just not welcoming to females back then at all. So
middle finger to the institution right there.
Yeah.
That is pretty interesting dichotomy.
Anyway, so it operated as Phyllis's Tavern for the next decade or so.
What was the first name again?
It was first known as Gordon's Tavern.
So Gordon's, then it was Phyllis's.
Then she ran it for the next couple decades, I believe. In 1959, a cautionary tale took place at Phyllis's Tavern. So what happened is a group of men were sitting inside the tavern drinking and talking when one of the men, a short-statured man from Texas, started making comments about how Texas was superior to all the other states. He started talking smack. Typical Texan. The guys that he was drinking with, they started taking exception to it. He was getting a little too carried away with the Texas is the best state.
Yeah, tone it down there, Tex.
Stars at night are shining bright.
At some point, one of the men decided to go for the juggler when he commented that Alaska, which had just been granted statehood, was now the biggest and best state.
Alaska could kick Texas's ass.
That's basically what he said. So they were fighting words. The comment was not very well received by the short-statured Texan, who set out to defend the honor of his state by, quote-unquote, scratching, biting, and gouging the man who had made the quip about Alaska.
Stop it! Stop it!
I'm picturing
take that back.
I'm picturing like a Boss Hogg character, some short guy with a cowboy hat.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
I thought a snubby was coming out for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say Texas open carry. I thought he just shot him.
So anyway, the cops were called and he was arrested and he was hauled off to jail. A few years later, in 1962, the tavern was purchased by a guy by the name of Earl D. Nelson, who renamed it the Waterwheel Tavern. So this was when the Waterwheel Tavern was officially born. When it first opened as a Waterwheel Tavern, Waterwheel was 2 words, Waterwheel Tavern. Now, of course, Waterwheel is just 1 word. But when it first opened, it was 3 words.
What do we know why? Why Waterwheel?
Why they
why?
No, I don't
Is
know.
he from Mississippi or something, like an ode to? Or
water wheels were like those old steamships that operated riverboats and stuff. Yeah, I'm not sure what.
Or what water wheel, just because of marine,
maybe he has like
steering
old,
wheel.
Maybe like have maritime roots. It's possible. Yeah, it's very possible.
Or old sawmill logging kind of whatever with the water wheel.
Right there.
Yeah,
all
I'm
over
sure
here.
There's some kind of local basis for it. Now you guys were asking about crime stories, so we have another good stick-up story. Every good tavern, has a good stick-up story. This one is a little more
I'm
garden
going to hit
variety.
the cop with the tire iron.
No, this was a little more garden variety. So in 1965, a bandit walked in at 2 a.m. at closing, pulled out a pistol and told the bartender, "This is a stick-up. Get into a back room and don't make a move." So he brought the bartender into the back room, locked the door, and then made off with $326.
Fuck.
And they never saw him again.
That's a party.
So, again, this is your basic no-frills stick-up.
It wasn't like the Baranoff when they got 20 grand out of the safe that they cracked.
Yeah. There was no bumbling burglars that were trying to square off against an armed cop.
This guy couldn't figure out how to open the cash register, so he just grabbed the tip jar and left. Thought that was about $300.
So the Waterwheel, it's earned its stripe. It had its obligatory stick-up incident that took place back in the day. In 1966, the owner, Earl D. Nelson, died, and soon after, the tavern was put up for sale again. Now, again, this was when it was still across the street. Somebody eventually purchased the place, though it is unknown who this person was. And in 1975, plans were put into place to move the tavern across the street to where it's located now, which, by the way, used to be an auto garage.
Mysterious tavern mover.
Yeah. Well, and it gets a little more kind of murky and mysterious. So first, they needed the Washington State Liquor Control Board to approve the change of location, right? Because if you're a bar and you have your liquor license and you decide to move, you can't just bring that liquor license with you.
It's not a carryover.
It's not a carryover.
No, you gotta close off the street. You get a couple of big burly guys to like drag the building across the street,
Maybe some
replant
elephants.
it, hook up the power and the water. It's a job.
It's a job.
It's a job.
But they needed the liquor license, so they requested a new liquor license for the new place across the street here. But something happened and it was declined. Their original request for a new liquor license here at this location, this was in January of 1975, was declined on the basis that they were too close to a church. So somewhere around here at the time...
I was going to say too close to a school, but that's even better.
Well, I think it was the same rule. You can be too close to a church or a school. I don't know what
across
the limit
street,
was.
fine.
Maybe a half a
this
mile.
This side of the street, hell no.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's 64th. I can't remember the name of that church, but...
Is there one?
Oh, yeah,
big one
right
there.
just down the street.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
By Ballard
It's probably a
Market.
church
It's probably
there.
like 12 blocks away.
Yeah.
But weirdly, though, several months later, suddenly they got their liquor permit and they moved here. But it was never explained why. So I was kind of curious.
Maybe the
about
mysterious owner is the deacon.
that. Or maybe some palms were greased,
Yeah.
which suddenly made the availability of the liquor license suddenly, accessible to them.
Palms
Which
were
might be
greased
the
and-
Seattle way.
Yeah, that was how things were done back then.
Yeah.
Not
Palms were-
now.
Not now, but back then, if you paid the right person, things happened. I suspect that might have happened. I don't know. Who knows?
Allegedly.
I'm sure it did. It's kind of annoying how graft is not accepted now.
You think graft should still be...
For things like, permits. Hey, I saw you were building an unpermitted garage in your back alley. Oh, I'm sorry. Here, sir. Here's a tribute to your family,
Here,
to you and your family.
I think some manila envelopes may get passed.
Here's
Yeah.
$200 for your son's softball league.
Exactly.
Here you go.
A little something
Guy's
for you
just
in the...
building a shed in his backyard. Why put him through the paces?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's a good point.
Do I really need to remove all that asbestos? Do I really?
So anyway, so they made the move across the street when they finally got their new liquor license, and they brought the original Horseshoe Bar that's in there right now with them. It was moved down 15th Avenue using wooden rollers and a whole group of men pulling it with ropes. So I guess
was
it was
right.
quite
They
the
did-
scene.
they did
You
close
kinda
down
were
the
right.
street.
Jeremy?
Yeah,
Yeah,
dragging the bar up the street. Oh, my God.
Nostradamus
Hope-
here.
Some
Hope,
fucking, yeah.
hope somebody got
So-
that on YouTube video.
The year you're
Psychic
talking
over
about
here.
is way after
one and
cars
under number.
were common.
It's way after what?
Like, what year were they using horses to haul it across the street?
Well, no, they weren't using horses. It was just men. They had them. They had it on wooden rollers and a bunch of men.
Oh, no, I like the idea of horses, though. That'd be great.
No, I don't think any
Yeah,
horses.
right down Greenwood
I don't know
here.
why I
Yeah,
heard horses.
yeah.
I want to see elephants.
Elephants.
Yeah. Why
Team
not?
of donkeys. So soon after it moved, it changed names from the Waterwheel Tavern to the Waterwheel Lounge that it's known as now.
Easier to
it's been
say. It's
operating ever
easier to say
since.
when you're drunk.
Yeah, just
Waterwheel.
one word. Waterwheel. Today, the Waterwheel is known for their generous happy hour, which is from 3 to 7 p.m., so that is pretty generous, as well as their crew of tight-knit regulars who are all here almost every night. In fact, when I was talking to the owner to get permission to record here, and we were talking back and forth, I was getting some history from her, she was telling me that one of them had just passed away like maybe a month or so ago, and they actually had kind of like a wake here for the guy, a memorial of
Nice.
sorts.
Cool.
Did they give
So-
him a stool?
I don't know, maybe.
That's cool.
I wouldn't
They
be
retired
surprised.
his stool. Yeah.
Yeah, Norm's stool or whatever it is. So to me,
That's
the
why you
water,
got the stink eye earlier. You were sitting on his stool.
you were sitting on Norm's stool.
Asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, how could you? So to me, the Waterwheel Lounge represents one of Seattle's true dive bars with its wood veneer paneling, dim lighting, low ceiling, and the original Horseshoe Bar. And as the owner pointed out to me, they made it through COVID and they plan on staying put and keeping Ballard tipsy for as long as they can.
Nice.
So that's the
Keeping
story of the
Ballard
Waterwheel.
Well,
tipsy.
I mean,
that's great.
making
They
it
should put
through
that
the
on the
motto,
sign. Yeah, they should put that
Making
on
it
the
through
sign.
COVID is nothing for these guys. As we mentioned in the intro, they're in the witness protection program. Like, there's
Yeah.
Well, and I should mention, too, about them, they're open 365 days a year.
Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
So they're one of those 365 day a year bars,
That's cool.
And I'm sure there's a lot of people that are here on both those days. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay,
Yeah.
you guys know.
What are you
where
guys doing
we're
for
going
Christmas
to-
this year?
25th? I say right back here.
Yeah.
Right back here.
Where's
Yeah.
We have a
Dad?
killer happy hour.
You know whose birthday it is on Christmas?
Is it really?
Oh, all
Your
right.
birthday is on Christmas?
Yeah, actually it is.
Oh, wow.
You're a Christmas
12/25/84.
Man, you get screwed over in the presents, Doug, don't you?
Yeah.
Thing
That
everybody says
sucks.
tonight.
Yeah.
Like, sucks.
You know, it was all right.
Yeah.
My parents
cool.
ran
That's
a good
cool, though.
Christmas
Well-
in the morning, birthday for dinner. So that's how we.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And it's
Nice.
so easy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a typical guy. I have a hard time remembering birthdays, but I will remember yours.
Yeah, I think so, too.
My friend Brex, his birthday is New Year's Day. Always will remember Brex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brad, you're really close to me.
Yeah.
You're like April 26th.
6th. Yeah, good memory, man. Good memory.
Nice.
I'm 24th, so that's why I remember it. Jeremy?
Shit, I can't even remember my own birthday.
Yours is this month, right?
It was last week.
It was last week.
Bitches,
Oh,
did
happy
you send me
birthday,
anything?
J-Dog.
You give me a check? No.
And I also have a friend whose birthday is April 15th, which is tax day, so
Okay.
I always
Ooh.
remember him.
I know a lot of
Dun,
people
dun,
whose birthdays
dun.
are in
Nasty.
April.
That's right.
I think Brian,
Yeah.
his was in April
yeah.
too, right?
Bob is April. What's your woman's?
December 29th, close to
Okay.
Bob's.
Nice.
Yeah,
All right, cool.
yeah. So your birthday was last week.
What
What'd
the
you
hell
do?
were we talking about? We got way off topic, man.
Talking
We're
about
getting back
birthdays.
on topic,
What'd you do for your birthday, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Well-
happy
And happy
Jeremy.
belated birthday, by the way.
Thank you. I tell you, I think I texted you motherfuckers about this earlier. I went to a concert
Oh.
that
You went and saw New Order and the Pet Shop Boys.
I
Is
heard that was
correct?
awesome.
did.
man.
I did. And
Really?
I'm not afraid. Who knows it?
I love the Pet Shop Boys.
Even
I don't
our
care.
listener of the podcast, it was a fucking great concert.
Fucking Pet Shop
It
Boys
was
are awesome. Dude. I'm
really,
jealous.
Both of those
really
bands.
fun. Really fun. Super fun. They both put on a great show.
Sick.
They had fucking lasers and lights
Were
and
you-
smoke.
were you
and-
dancing?
Oh man, it was crazy. Yeah, the
Yeah.
place was really.
Where
whole
was
place
it at?
hopping.
What was the venue, Jeremy?
Climate Pledge, Climate Pledge Arena, which is not a great place to see a
Which for our
concert for the
listeners,
most part.
that's
It's
where
kind of
the hockey team plays. So it's
yeah,
like
it's
a
kind of
20,000 seater, 30,000
yeah,
seater.
it's kind of a shitty
no,
place
it's-
to see
okay.
a concert because it's so fucking big and it's made for
Okay.
sports, whatever. But it was all right.
Word.
They did a good job. It was loud as fuck in there,
Nice.
but yeah, super fun.
Nice.
Great
And-
place
I was
if you
actually
wanna
kinda
go
jealous
for
when-
Jeremy's.
Yeah, it
when I
was
heard
a
about
great
that.
time, and like you said, Climate Pledge Arena named because Amazon bought the joint, renamed it Climate Pledge Arena. God knows why. I don't know. Anyway, but now Amazon owns it. They remodeled the joint when they bought it and renamed it. They did a nice job. It's actually pretty freaking nice in there. It's not that the acoustics aren't so hot for concerts and whatever, but for sports and like major events and stuff,
Yeah.
it's nice.
Yeah.
Tons of bars all along the outskirts there. They got a bunch of really good draft beer. They have a bunch of places, kind of cool, a bunch of places that have draft mixed drinks. And they got the Kraken tie-in. So they got Kraken rum. And all these places you can buy like Kraken rum mixed drinks on draft for, really.
Nice.
I was going to say cheap, but it's not really, it's like, arena cheap, which is like
Thousands
12
of
bucks.
drunk hockey fans. What could go wrong?
Oh, man. Yeah, super fun.
Nice. So it sounds like you had some drinks and saw a good show.
Hell yeah. And then the next day, went to a beer festival.
Nice. Well, I don't want you to tell me about what was on tap at the beer festival, but I do want you to tell me about what's on tap here. Brad, what you drinking?
So I'm drinking the Jellyfish Brewing Company's their Oktoberfest offering.
Is it pumpkin
Oktoberfest.
bullshit?
No pumpkin. I'm anti-pumpkin beer, so no worries there.
Wait, what do you got to get pumpkin beers, man?
Because it tastes like crap. That's my main complaint against it.
You just haven't had the right one. You
No.
haven't had the right one.
No, it's funny. So a couple weeks ago, I was going to head across the street for my Friday night beers with my neighbors, and Madeline was grocery shopping that day, and she was like, "Hey, Dad, I'm going grocery shopping. Do you need a 6-pack?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Okay, what kind do you want?" And I wasn't specific. I just said, just get me something seasonal, whatever looks good.
Oh,
So she came back with a 6-pack of pumpkin beer, and I was like, oh, man. And I didn't want to make her feel bad because she was doing me a solid.
Thanks, honey.
Yeah. But it would...
And what was it?
I don't even remember. I tried drinking one. It was horrible. I hate pumpkin ale. I really do. Yeah.
Well, I think we need to unpack that a little bit more. But before that, we need to head back to the bar for round 2.
All right.
So maybe Satan's
Let's do
Pilgrims do us a little segue music. We'll grab another
Award-winning
drink,
Hall of
get our
Fame
drink on
Satan's
back, and be
Pilgrim
back in
ass
it.
motherfuckers. Take us out.
Nice.
All right, we back. Thank you, Satan's Pilgrims. Jeremy, you went and refreshed our cups. Thank you very much. 3 beers, courtesy of Jeremy. Brad, what did Jeremy get you?
So I'm drinking a Sky Kraken, their hazy pale. So it's a hazy pale ale, and it's so good because it has that great hazy flavor, but it's light, like a pale ale. So you
like
got
a
the best of both
5.5
worlds. It's a
instead of an
5.5, yeah, which is right up my alley.
Oh, cool.
It's very refreshing and good. So
Nice. And I'm drinking the amber. Did you catch the name of the amber that I'm drinking, Jay?
Give me a second. No.
Well, it's delicious. I had it for the first round,
Jeremy.
and I'm having it for the second round.
That's your only job.
you had one job.
I gave you one fucking
I don't have to fucking pay attention to your beers. I'm busy paying attention to my beer.
All right, so
Pay attention to your own damn beer.
all right. Well, what's your beer, Jay?
Mine is a Sea Pine Mosaic dry hop IPA.
Good call.
Oh, is that the one
Oh,
you
excuse
said
me.
was
No.
hoppy as all get
Wet
out?
hop IPA. Wet hop.
And I can
Gives you a
tell
little bit
you,
different flavor.
just taking a brief sample of it, it's like drinking mulch.
Drinking mulch, is what you said?
Tastes like mulch. Delicious. I'll take another.
Fresh lawnmower clippings.
No.
It's delicious, but it's that intense.
I
Like,
get what
people
you're saying.
Say beers
Yeah.
are hoppy,
Varna.
beers are hoppy. Like, no, this is hoppy.
Yeah, for sure. And the other kind of awesome beers that's a great experience with that, if you can find a really good one, is the Citra hops IPAs, right?
Ooh, good lord.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
are really tasty.
Right, and they have all these kind of crazy names like Chronic IPA and stuff like that because it totally tastes like fresh weed.
Yeah.
But
But it's the kind, but it's the type of hop they're using, the Citra.
Totally, yeah, for sure. And it's
one in
it's an
particular.
awesome flavor profile, especially if it is just crazy obvious that it tastes like weed.
Because I think it's highly resinous or something like that, like the pot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Highly
that's
resinous.
delicious. Let's plug that brewery again. What is this
Sea
beer?
Pine Brewery, and this is their
And
Mosaic.
they're located
wet
in
hop
Soto,
IPA.
aren't they, Jay?
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sea Pine's
It's
Mosaic.
fantastic stuff. There's
fantastic.
we've seen Sea Pine in a couple of bars that we visited, but it's not super popular on taps in dive bars. Sea Pine's definitely gotten a lot more popular over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Way more available than they were just like a couple
Not
of
a
years ago. which
pinkies
is
out
great.
beer, but it's definitely it's
Yeah,
it's a nice beer.
There's
Kinda like a
there's a reason we're finding
Chuck's
them more
Hop
on the
Shop
taps.
beer.
They're killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, really
Nice.
killer.
Very cool.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So let's talk about where we're at. Where are we at, Jeremy?
Well, we are in. Well, would you consider this Freelard?
No, this is solid Ballard. All right. Brad, where are we at? Brad.
Actually,
This is
I'm kind of with Jeremy. It doesn't seem like it at least seems we're on the fence of Ballard. I wouldn't say we're like in deep Ballard.
Oh.
Aren't we on the
we're-
boundary of like
No, you're
Ballard
talking-
in another neighborhood?
I'd say
Crown
Ballard and
Hill.
Crown Hill.
Crown Hill?
Yeah, I'd say
Okay.
we're
Yeah.
sitting right in
You
the.
said Freelard, though. That's the other side.
Jeremy said Freelard.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
close.
But
Well,
this
that's
isn't
right-
our
that's right
first
there.
Ballard bar. What was our first Ballard bar?
The sloop.
Oh, shh.
Oh, yeah, the sloop and the knots and the bones. So in that episode, we talked about the history of the neighborhood, right? Ballard?
Yeah.
It's on the water. It's a fishing
Started out as
village.
a fishing. Yep.
The Germans were in Georgetown making beer, and the Norwegians were here
Catching
fishing.
fish. Yeah.
That's right. So we talked about the heritage of Ballard in the last episode, which
Yeah,
we were at in
yeah.
Ballard, right? So in this one, I thought we would talk about a very cool property that is just a couple clicks down the road from here. And I encourage our listener, open up your Apple Maps and type in the Edith Macefield House.
Oh yeah.
Do those words mean anything to you guys?
No, I'm not hip to that.
No.
It's the real life Up House.
Yeah.
The Pixar
Oh,
movie
that's
where the
right.
guy refused to sell to the big developers and then eventually tied his house to a bunch of balloons and flew away. Well, it's the same story, but without the balloons, right?
Is the house still there?
Yeah,
I
it's
heard it got
absolutely still there. Nope.
Okay.
Demolished, but I don't know.
What is there now is a giant retail complex with a Trader Joe's and a parking garage and a bunch of other stuff. The initial offer to Edith was $750,000 for her house.
What year was this?
Early 2000s? No.
Yeah, exactly.
Early
It was when the movie Up came out, about the same
So
time.
it would have been a good deal at that time.
At that time, it would have killed her.
Yeah.
Today's
When
market
you
is
look
dog
at
shit.
Yeah.
it's an incredible deal. So then they increased it to $1 million, and she was like, "No, this is my home. I don't care about money. I'm not interested." So they said, "Okay, well then we'll just build around you." And so they literally did. It's a small home by any standards. It's 500 square feet.
Yeah, it's a humble little house.
It's a little farmhouse, and it's still there. And she passed away since, but you can go check it out anytime you want. The little house on its little lot, it's buttressed on 3 sides by a 5-story commercial structure. So there's a house, and it's like 5 stories, parking garage, Trader Joe's, and yeah, look it up. There was this weird timing also about how it happened in between the Pixar movie Up's development and when it finally came out.
Yeah.
So when it did finally come out, they did a promo up here for Up, and they tied a bunch of balloons to the house and used it for a movie release party.
I remember when they did that. That was cool.
Yeah, cool.
That was a great movie. That was one of my favorite Pixar movies, or at least in my top 5.
That's right.
Yeah.
So who owns the joint now? Do we know who owns it now?
Macefield House? Well,
Yeah.
when she died shortly after, and when the construction was going on, can you imagine a 5-story commercial
I
building
know.
going up around you?
I
so
know.
The foreman of the crew felt terrible for her, and
Put
he
her
came
up.
in every day and talked to her and said, "Is there anything you need? Like, I'll go get it for you." And he hung out and
Earplugs?
talked to her.
A bunch of balloons.
Yeah, so she left the house to him when she passed away.
She left it to the
shortly
foreman?
after. Yeah.
Whoa.
And he sold it, and it's not $1 million property. It's the last place you want to live, right?
Right, because it's surrounded by this brick. Yeah.
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 And so,
Your industrial
but
Ballard.
sold it for I think $500,000 to a guy who was thinking of turning it into a tourist kind of thing, and then he didn't pay the property taxes, and King County took it back. And I think
What?
they still have it. Our listeners, if you want to buy the Edith Macefield house, you can do it now. It's just sitting in King County in the foreclosure lot.
That's
Oh,
interesting.
But no one wants anything to do with it because what are you going to do with it?
So
I had
no one's
idea you
currently-
were a real estate agent, Lou.
So it's vacant. Nobody's living in it right
Yeah.
now. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
And they put there's a giant 9-foot fence around it.
Yeah.
It's not pretty to look at by any standards, but it's still there. It's
Or
cool.
if our listeners would like to go there and just squat for free, you don't have to pay any money. So there you go.
That was an awesome story. The Waterwheel is definitely a old ass kind of
Tucked in.
tucked in old school building surrounded by a shit ton of condos.
Yeah.
Right? There's fucking condos everywhere.
right?
And there's like
Right on
this
15th.
place, maybe one other kind of small building up the road, whatever, that's been around for a while, whatever. But development is engulfing and swallowing this building as we sit here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ballard is the most gentrified neighborhood in the Seattle.
Oh, for sure.
Wouldn't you say?
Well, and they always use Ballard as a measurement against other places that are under risk for overdevelopment. Like, we don't want to become Ballard. You hear that a lot these days.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
hearing that in Edmonds where I live. Like, we don't want to become another Ballard.
Well, you'd use that in West Seattle. Sadly, we have became Ballard.
Yeah.
Well, thank God there's places like this, man. Thank God we have enough dive bars in these awesome neighborhoods for us to do a stupid podcast about them, right?
Definitely.
So,
Well, I guess this
'cause
bar-
those days are fucking
The
dwindling.
Waterwheel was actually for sale, I believe, in 2019, so just a few years
Ooh,
ago.
So it got
Yeah.
saved.
It
Yeah.
got saved at the last minute. So the current owner was like, nope, we're not going anywhere. We're staying put. So,
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think it's time to knock it on the head. Yeah. We're going to say goodbye to the smog. We're
I
gonna
think
say
we've
goodbye to the
breathed
my
in
God.
enough smoke. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, smoke them if you
Well,
want
and
them.
before
go home and
we
drink
before
some
we
more.
hit it on the head, a shout out to the bartender Clarice,
Yes.
who
Oh, hell
is
yeah.
an awesome bartender, an awesome host, and gave us a very warm welcome when
Yes,
we set
thank you,
up today.
Clarice.
So, yeah.
And also has a great soundtrack. Come on down. She always has great music playing.
Absolutely.
sure.
So,
That's right.
shout out to the Waterwheel.
Go on to iTouch and look up the jukebox at the Waterwheel, and it will tell you that the most popular song here is
Blue Oyster Cult?
What was it? A Mike McDonald song?
Yes,
Well, I can't think of the
Frankie
name of
Beverly.
Doobie Brothers, taking it to the
it. Doobie
streets.
Brothers, yeah.
All right, second time.
Thank
Let's
you,
knock it on the
Clarice.
head.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Waterwheel.
Satan's Pilgrims. Take us out. Thank you, Clarice.